The next video. In today's video I will show you how to do image classification using MediaPipe dependency in React Native's new architecture both for Android and iOS. So firstly I will show you what the output looks like. So this is for Android. So here I have one button called pick image, and once I click on that particular button it opens the image picker, and from over here I can select any image, and once I select the image it classifies the image depending on what it thinks. So this is the output for Android. Similarly for iOS as well. So here I have button, I click on it, it opens the image picker, user will select an image and it gives so I have selected the fountain image, and here you might be seeing this optional thing. This is because there could be data or there could not be data. If you see the second part, I'm displaying two things: display name, category name. I think the category name is nil, that's why it is displaying nil. So you can handle that by yourself, but yeah, let's get started. So as usual, what you have to do is first go to the React Native new architecture page and just create a React Native project. Then you will have to enable the new architecture. So for Android you have to search for new arc enabled inside gradle.properties. So I have already made this as true. And for iOS you will have to open your terminal, cd to your iOS directory, and then run this command. This will enable the new architecture for iOS. Next I will be copying a lot of code from this turbo native modules documentation, so it's better you keep this documentation handy. So let's get started. So firstly I have created this folder called rtn my image classification. Inside that I have created this file called package.json, and here I'll just close everything. Okay, so here I have copied everything from the documentation itself. The only thing which I have changed is this name over here, this name over here, this name over here, and this package name over here. Next I have, with the same name of this, I have created a podspec file. Again I have copy pasted everything from the docs, only this name has been changed. Next I have created a JS folder. Inside that I have created a TypeScript file called native my image classification. Again I have copy pasted everything from the docs. The only thing which I have changed is this name over here, and I have changed the method to pick image, which with a return type of void. And I will tell you why I have kept it purposefully as void, because for Android we need to make use of register for activity result. That is not available for turbo module, so I had to use a hack which I will show you in a bit. Next I have created a folder called Android, and inside that I have created a file called build.gradle. Again I have copy pasted everything from the docs. Only thing which I have changed is this build.gradle version. So write whatever is latest according to when you are watching the video. And I have changed the compile HDK version to 34. I have added Kotlin Android as well, and I am using Kotlin standard lib of 1.8.20. Yeah, rest, and also this namespace has been changed. Next create folders called src main java com rtn my image classification, and here I have created my image classification package.kt. Again I have copy pasted everything from the docs, only this name has been changed, this has been changed, this has been changed, this and this, everything else remains the same. Next I have created my image classification module.kt. again I have copied pasted it from docs, only package name has been changed, this name has been changed, and this name has been changed. And given that we are implementing this, we have to override this method which we had defined it inside our TypeScript file. So here you can see I'm asking for internet permission. So this is the hack. I know that we don't need to explicitly ask for internet permission, but given that I can't use register for activity result inside a turbo module, I had to use this hack. Now once you are done with this, what you will have to do is you will have to open your terminal and cd to your rn app or React Native project, whatever is your project called. Firstly you will have to run this command. Once you run this command, you will have to do cd ... it will move you outside your React Native project. Then you will have to run this command over here, but here you will have to replace rn app with whatever is your project name. So my project name is rn app, that's why I'm using it over here as well as over here, but you will have to replace it. And this is our folder name which we had created. Once you run this, you will have to cd to Android, to the main Android folder, which is this, and then run this command. So this will do code generation for Android, and for iOS you will have to cd to iOS and then run this command. So this will do code generation for iOS as well. Next you can open the Android folder inside Android Studio. So I have done that. Next, you will have to go to this build.gradle, and here as you can see, no changes over here. So here what changes I have made is that I have updated the min HDK version to 24 because that is the minimum required by MediaPipe. Next, I have added a lifecycle runtime dependency because I want to make use of Kotlin coroutines, and this is the MediaPipe task vision which will help us to do image classification. Now this version might seem a little odd to you. In case if you are wondering what is the latest version, if you are watching this a long time after I have published this video, a trick which you could do is just make it 0.0.0 by default. Android Studio itself will tell you, okay, this is not the latest version. Just click on this bulb icon and change it to this, whatever is the latest. Once that is done, just click on sync now at the top. Next, you will have to go to main activity, and if you remember, from our turbo module we will get a callback over here on request permission result. So just override this method, and I have also added these two things to just for that internet permission thing. Okay, so here I'm just checking if the permission is granted. Of course it is granted, as long as the user has proper internet permission. Also make sure you have this permission inside Android manifest as well. This might fail. I don't think this will fail in case the user has disabled his Wi-Fi. Yeah, I think it should pass, but yeah, anyways. Next, here I have checking whether code permission has been granted. If yes, then I am calling this all permission granted. So this is just a helper method to check whether permission was granted. If yes, then I am initializing this image classifier. I'll come back to this, and I am also launching our image picker. I'll come back to this. Else I am just saying, okay, user has not granted image internet permission, just send a callback back to the React Native side as false. Now before I proceed with the code ahead, I want to tell you that you will have to come to this docs, okay, because we will have to download a TensorFlow Lite model. So you can come to this docs, and here they have given so here you can go to the model section and you can just download the TensorFlow Lite model. So I think I am using this one. Let me just confirm. Assets, TensorFlow Lite. Okay, I think you can use anyone. I think I'm using this one, but I think it's fine. You can use anyone, whichever makes sense to you. Similarly for iOS as well, you will have to come to this docs and use whichever makes sense to you. Like anyone is fine. I think this float 32 might give you better accuracy, but it would be less performant. I mean the performance is great, like it's not that noticeable. So use whatever makes sense to. So you'll have to download this model, one for iOS and one for Android as well. Next, for the Android one, you will have to right click on app, new folder, click on assets. I have already created this, and just click OK or finish, whatever it asks you to, and it will create this assets folder. Then just drag and drop your Android TF Lite model inside this assets folder. Now I'll come back to this code. So first we are creating an option. So make sure whatever name you have over here, use the same name over here. Next, I'm setting the delegate as CPU. I'm not sure if GPU will work. It might work on some Android and might not work on other. That's why I've kept it as CPU. So here I'm then generating an options builder for our image classifier. Scroll threshold is 0.5. So minimum. So at the time of image classification, it will give you a score of 0 to 1. So if the image classification model is able to classify an image with a scroll at least of 0.5, then only it will give us a result. So I have kept a scroll threshold. So maximum result is 1. Running mode, I have kept it for image, and base options I have just kept it as it is. Then we are initializing our options builder.build and assigning it to this variable, and here I have created our image classifier. Okay, I'll minimize this for now. So here, if you remember, once permission was granted for internet, we are initializing our image classifier, and here we are launching our image picker. Now coming back to this get content, so this method cannot be used inside turbo modules, that's why I had to use this hack. Now here you can see I'm launching a lifecycle scope and I'm doing this thing on an IO thread of coroutine. So I'm first checking whether the URI is correct or not. If yes, then we are generating a bitmap out of it. So this is the code for generating a bitmap. Once the bitmap is generated, we need to convert it in a special format which is required by this TensorFlow Lite model. And here from that bitmap we need to create an MP image. Then we are calling image classifier dot classify MP image, and then we'll get the classification results. So once we do that, I'm just going back to the main thread, and from that classification result we get this classification results dot classification result dot classifications. And here I'm checking if it is not empty, then get the first categories for our from our result. And if that data is not empty, then what I'm doing is that I'm getting the category name as well as display name. I think one of this is null, because if you remember in my output I was only getting one thing. Similarly, same thing happened for iOS as well, but iOS was explicitly defining it as nil. So yeah, be careful with the output. Like sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. So yeah, it is what it is. And then here in case there is no data, I'm just sending it back to the React Native side as well. So yeah, next, how to use it on the React Native side. So if you see, I have imported our RTN image classification. So here I have created one variable for setting the data which we get from our native side. And I think the event emitter, right? Okay, so this is for Android. This use effect is for Android. So once you send data like this using context.getJS module, you will get it over here. And once if the data is proper, I'm just setting it to our variable. And this, which the event emitter which I have defined, this is for iOS, and this is how you listen data for iOS. I'll come back to the iOS native code in a bit. And here you can see I've just created one button, and I'm just assigning our text data to our text. Next, coming back to iOS, first thing which you have to do is open the iOS folder, go to pod file, and here you will have to add this pod of MediaPipe task vision. Once you add this bit of code, don't run pod install. You will have to cd to your iOS directory and run this bit of code, okay? Because pod install is for old architecture. This RCT new arc enabled one bundle execute pod install is for new architecture. So you will have to run this entire command. Once that is done, open the iOS folders XC workspace inside Xcode. So again you will have to drag and drop your TF Lite model inside your iOS project, and make sure this target membership is checked. Also for iOS, I think you will have to update the min SDK version to 14 over here as well as over here. Next, I have created one event emitter class. So this will basically help us to send data from native iOS to React Native. So just create an header file, copy paste this bit of code. Next, another create this header file, copy paste this bit of code as well. Like this is just, this will remain same for whatever project you do. Like yeah, so just copy paste this. This is an Objective-C file, this is an header file. Okay, so just copy paste this code. Once that is done, create a Swift file called my image classification. Next, Xcode will ask, do you want to create a bridging header? Click yes, and inside bridging header you will also have to add this import, because we are using this Objective-C event emitter file inside our Swift file. Next, also inside your info.plist, make sure you add this photo library usage description permission. Next, inside my image classification, I have imported photos UI and React, as well as our MediaPipe task vision. Then I am extending our picker view controller delegate, which help us to pick images. So here I have created image classifier option. I have kept everything as default, as well as I have created variable for image classifier. Then inside init, make sure this is your whatever name you have given for your TF Lite model, make sure you use it same over here, and this is our extension. So I am loading our model path, and from that we are getting our path and assigning it to our options variable, and here we are initializing our image classifier as well. Next, I have kept it as upload file, but you can name it whatever you want, the method name. So basically I am checking whether the image picker's permission was granted or not. If it was granted, then just call this pick photo method. If not, then I am asking for the permission. And once pick photo is called, we are just creating object for ph picker configuration. We are setting the selection limit to 1, filter by images, and here we are calling ph picker view controller delegate. Here we are created this rct presented view controller, that's why we need react as well over here, and we are just presenting rct controller. And once the user has picked an image, then I'm dismissing our image picker. We are getting our selected item, and from that selected item we get an UI image. From that we convert UI image to an MP image, and then we call this image classifier dot classify our image, and from that we get this result. And from that we want to get this classification result dot classifications. And here as you can see, if the result is not empty and result dot categories is not empty, then I'm using our event emitter to send data back to the React Native side. Okay, so here if you want, you can add another if let check, because if you remember we were getting data in form of optional, right? So you can add an if let check for category name as well. If you want, you can add it for display name as well, so your choice. Next, you will have to create an header file for our with same name of RTN my image classification, whatever you have given the folder name. And again I have copy pasted this from the turbo native modules doc. Only this name has been changed, this has been changed, this and this has been changed, everything else remains the same. Next, create an objective C file, but make sure you change the extension to .mm, which is an objective C++ file. Again I have copy pasted everything from docs, so but only this name has been changed. We have to add this extra bit of import because we are using because we are calling Swift code from objective C. So whatever is your bridging header name, so mine is RN app, that's why I'm using RN app over here. So in case your bridging header name is different, use that whatever is your bridging header name, and -swift.h will be common for all. Next, again I have created this again copied from docs, so again this name should be changed. Here we are initializing our Swift file, and again this has been copied from docs, only this name has been changed. And here we are overriding the pick image method which we have defined it on our TypeScript file, and here we are just calling the upload file method, defined it inside our Swift file. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye.